Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today we're going to talk to you about cheap bipods. Are they any good? Well, I've got about a half a dozen of these suckers, if not more. I still have to order more. I still have some rifles with bipods. I find that for all the guns in my collection at least, they're perfectly fine. I have no qualms whatsoever about even going out and buying 4 or 5 more of these things. And I'm going to need to anyways because I want the 22 cal version of this gun as well. And there's a couple other guns I want, and I'm going to want to put bipods on them, of course, right? Now, I know I could share bipods and just buy some $1.99 sling mounts, but it's just me. I got to have a bipod on every single gun that I can put one on, you know? Besides, for 30 and 35 bucks, who cares? It's only a couple of bucks, right? And they are fantastic bipods. Now, what I wouldn't recommend is putting them on anything that's stronger in power level than a 22 Magnum. That's either one that shoots real 22 Magnum bullets or something like a Diana 350 Magnum rifle. Okay, so Springer or nitro piston. PCP, you're fine. CO2, you're fine. Even in a 25 caliber, you should be good to go for a lot of those types of guns. It's when the guns start getting really super heavy, that's when you might want to be concerned and get a higher class bipod at that point. Okay? And there's a lot of bipod choices out there. Some of them are ridiculous in price. And I look at too, well, what did I pay for the gun? You know, my QB I paid 150 bucks. I'd probably spend up to 100 bucks on a bipod. In fact, I'll tell you right now, you can buy this exact same bipod from some of the gun shops, even in Canada, and they're charging $100 for it. Or you can go buy the exact same bipod made by the same company, and I kid you not, on Amazon for $30 to $35. Take your pick. You want to pay more, or do you want to pay less and get more for your money? Now, these are not the best refined builds as far as, you know, beveled edges and really smooth and sexy and rounded off. They're squared off, okay, but they're not sharp edges. I've only heard a couple of reports where somebody bought one of these cheap bipods and it had some pretty rough edging on it, especially on the main edge part here. And you know what? A little bit of satin finish black paint and some 400 grit sandpaper, take care of that in a couple of minutes. Not a big deal, okay? I mean, you're paying 30, 35 bucks. You're not going to get perfection, okay? Now, higher class air guns that are also more for hunting or precision shooting, you're going to want to invest in a much higher quality bipod, obviously. Especially when you start spending real big money on air guns, like wire rocks, for example. They're very expensive guns, okay? And I got my eye on a couple of them, and I don't know if I'll ever buy them. I'm getting too addicted to other things for guns, but you never know. But if I ever did spend $1,000 even on a sub 500 air rifle from Wire Rock, I'm going to pay the same price, sub 500 or over 500 feet per second. Yeah, I would definitely invest in a much higher quality bipod because A, the gun's a lot heavier, B, it's a lot better quality gun, so I'm going to want to keep it even more safer, and C, I'm not sure as far as weight load what the maximum weight load of these bipods actually is, but it's definitely going to be more than 10 pounds. Because even my QB weighs about 11 pounds. I have a QB 78 22 cal. It weighs about 11 pounds with all the junk on it. You know, it's got the same scope as this. It's got the same bipod. It's got extra CO2, 5 extra CO2 bottles on the back of the stock. You know, plus it's got 2 bottles ignited in it already. You know, I mean, this one's got 3 bottles in it because that's what it uses. And the bipod and the scope, and yeah, we're sitting about 7-8 pounds. You know, about that. You know, so it's getting weighed up, and I mean, the springs are plenty strong, like, it's not going to move it, you know, too easily. So and there is cross bracing on here too, so you're not going to split the legs apart, alright? So you don't have to worry about that. So I'd probably say they're good for probably up to 30 pounds worth of a gun. Where the problem comes in is the recoil out of the gun, you know, how's that going to work? Also, about the placement of your bipod, is also very critical to your gun, okay? Not just for shooting accuracy's sake, but even when you're freehand shooting, you need room on your stock to put your hand so that you can actually properly aim, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be like this. Now that's one problem I do have with my Stoker gun, is I have to grip the bipod for freehand shooting because I had to mount it so close, but it's because of the style of the stock is kind of dumb on it, you know what I mean? It's hard to mount anything. So I was able to get a bipod on it, but it could have gone in a much better place. I may still try and tweak it yet to try and move it a little more forward. But the thing is if you have a stock that has this upward rake to it, that's where you can get into some troubles with the weight of the gun plus the angle of the front end of the stock where you're mounting it. That's what can pull weight down and give you flex in your springs that you may not want. Okay, but they are plenty strong springs, and you could probably get some stronger ones if you needed to. Okay, and they would go on there just fine and not damage anything. Or you can just opt out to get a different kind of bipod altogether. It's kind of up to you what you want to do. But like I said, 22 Magnum in a powder burner, 22 Magnum like a Diana 350 Magnum. That'd be about the max I would go with something like this. Because once you start getting into high-powered air rifles with springers and nitro guns, they're going to tend to give a lot more kick. And when you have weight plus kick combined, that's where you can run into some issues. And like I said, also the angle of the stock, you know, if it's got a weird angle to it. This is like straight across, so it's not a big deal. And I mounted it right up front, you know, and it's the perfect spot for it on this gun, you know. My classic 22 air rifle has a wood stock. It's a spring-powered gun, and where I had to mount it was because of where the thickness of the meat of the wood is. That was the only suitable location for the bipod. So I get some space for freehand shooting, but I would have liked a bit more, okay? Same as a Stoker. My F11 Nitro gave me a different kind of spacing as well. So it's going to vary on the gun how it mounts. The QB78, not a big deal. Plenty of space there for my hand to stretch my arm up. Because you don't want to be like this, because then all the weight of your gun goes down, right? You want to have your hand out more this way if you can to take up that weight balancing difference of your gun. So yeah, but that can happen with any bipod, not just this style. All right, so you got to be cautious about where you actually mount it on the gun so it works the best and most reliable for you. All right. I also probably wouldn't spend more on a bipod than what the gun costs. You know, that's kind of you know. I mean, I paid, like this gun here is $250 plus we got 170 tied up in the scope. Now this is before taxes and Canadian dollars, of course. So, you know, you're looking at what, $250? You're looking at almost $400. I probably should have spent at least half of that amount of money on a really good bipod. However, the gun doesn't weigh that much, so I don't need a super strong bipod. This is more than super strong enough for this gun. More than adequate. 9-inch height is perfect for shooting prone. I've not had any problems with any of my rifles in prone position at the 9-inch extension. Going lower, yes, but at the 9-inch, perfect. Works great for me anyways. Some people might want a little bit more. That's fine. It's up to you. The nice thing too about these is they have incremental stages. So if you're on an unbalanced surface, let's say your table sits kind of like this, okay? Well, that's going to cause rifle cant trying to shoot that way, and you're not going to get your targets. What do? You lower this end until your gun actually sits straight, so that your crosshairs are in perfect dead alignment, horizontal and vertical to your target. Then you're going to hit straight. Doesn't matter what angle your table's on. What matters is the angle the gun actually sits at. Okay, that's what matters. So, now, I would have liked to see 1/4-inch increments. You can get bipods with 1/4-inch increment. This is 1/2-inch, but it still works. No problem, no big deal. Okay, and it collapses up easy enough as well. You know, so there you go. Now you got a shorter height. So if you want to get down on your knees at the table and shoot with it at this height, you could do that too. It's kind of up to you how you use your bipods and for whatever purpose. Even at this height is great if you're standing, you're out small game hunting, for example, with your air gun, or you're doing regular hunting with a real gun, okay? Depending on the real gun, with the caliber, like I said, you got to, with these things, you got to kind of watch the caliber range because of recoil and stuff. But you know, even at the 6-inch point, it's so nice and stable, and you know, and if you had to even go as much as just getting that first click in, just to stabilize so that the cant of the gun would return back to steady, you can do that. It's not a big deal, right? So I would say in all, there's nothing wrong with buying cheap bipods. These ones work. Like I said, there's the Kalu and there's the Gensees. There's other brands as well that look exactly like these. Okay, so if you want a real up close and personal look at this thing, okay, this is what you're looking at. So check on Amazon, that's where I got mine. These also have sling mounts as well underneath, so you can mount your sling thing on there and put a rifle sling on your gun. You know, I did it with the QB. So all in all, it's pretty much about what I got for you on this one, really, to be honest. They're good, they work, they're great for the majority of the air guns out there, and you know, even upwards to 25 caliber, maybe even a little bit higher caliber air gun, as long as it's a PCP type gun, or you know, some sort of a high pressure air system or CO2. Like I said, you got to watch it in the calibers. When you go up above 22 caliber in a nitro or spring gun, that you're going to have to definitely watch. Some of your higher class PCP or HPA guns, they're going to get to be a heavier gun. You're going to want a little bit better quality bipod with more features available too. And that's the other thing, is features. What features do you want in the bipod for your purposes, right? I mean, you can have these notched style things where it's incremental, or you can get bipods where you just undo a pressure thread ring and you can slide it out to a precision amount, tighten up the ring, and away you go, you know, and you're set. That's it, right? So you have a lot more variety of mixing your horizontal planes, so you can square things up. And yeah, I mentioned rifle cant. Somebody's like, what's rifle cant? Well, just to give you more of a picture of it, I'm holding my gun straight like this. I'm dead on the bullseye. If I lean even the slightest of a degree either direction, I will miss my bullseye, okay? So that's a critical thing, especially if you're out hunting small game, big game with any gun, alright? If you cant your rifle in the least amount, that is going to likely cause you to miss your shot, because it can move it up and left, down and right, whatever, whichever way you're canting your rifle, right? So it's also very important when you sight in your rifle to sight it in dead on the crosshairs of your target, having your crosshairs also dead in the center of all the target. Best example I can give you is, you guys see the targets I shoot, they have the numbers on them, right? They go across both sides this way and then this way, vertically. Okay, so picture your crosshairs are squared, right? Like they're whoosh, and like this. So you want the dead center of that crosshair to the dead center of your target. And that is precisely where you want your bullet or projectile to go, is dead center, okay? Now that means sighting in the gun. But you need the stability. You can't do this properly with sandbags. You can only do it with either a bipod, or you clamp it into some sort of a device like a rifle rest or something, where the gun absolutely cannot move its left and right. And this way you just have to worry about your up and down and holding that in the right position as you fire the gun, right? And then you can sight in your gun to get to that dead bullseye. And what you want is a few shots that are going to go right in the bullseye with either no variation or very minimalistic. And when I mean minimalistic, I mean minimalistic. Alright? So this gun is more than capable of one whole group. Okay? So in other words, I can put the same pellet in the same hole, boom, boom, boom. As long as there's nothing wrong with the pellet and it's not going to be a flyer, I can put it in the exact same hole every single time, provided I take enough time with my shot, I get things re-leveled on the up and down, and I've got my left and right set up right. I can do that. And I mean, that actually gets to be quite boring, so I usually opt out to start peeling the center away little at a time and ripping the entire bullseye out of the target like I did last night with this thing. This thing is that accurate, okay, with the present setup. Now, it does take a scope that's good quality to do that. It takes your own precision pickiness to do that, and balance and patience and, you know, timing and everything. A nice super light trigger on the gun, which this one has an extremely light trigger. I haven't even tested the adjustments on it. I'm not going to. It's great. Etc., etc. Okay, so you know what's involved in having a precision shot and having the ammo that the gun likes. Okay, the best. You need to find the best ultimate pellet for your gun. So otherwise, yeah, you're going to be shooting the center. You could shoot above center. You could be over here. You could be back down here again. You could be up over there. You can be back down here again. That's bad. That's not a pellet that your gun likes. Okay. Having precision shooting when you're hunting or target shooting is of the utmost importance, which is why you need to know your gun. You need to have your gun pick out the ammo it's going to like the best with very little to no deviation whatsoever. Although then you might get the odd fly or pellet, which can happen. So if you've done everything else right and you missed, then you had a bad pellet, which is why you should also be checking the condition of each pellet before you load it into the breech, so that you know the condition of that pellet. And this way it gives you that much of a better chance of not having flyers or deviation. The other thing you got to look at too is when you sight in your gun, even with a bipod, if it's windy outside, okay, you have to compensate with your windage adjustments so that you can shoot in the wind, stay straight, and still hit the target right. If you are shooting in a non-windy day where there's no wind, or there's, say, less than half the amount or half the amount of wind that there was when you sighted in the gun, that's also going to throw you off. So you might want to consider rechecking your windage for the day that you take the gun out to make sure that things are still on target. Otherwise, that's another thing that can actually make you miss. Now, I know this is extra information, but it's helpful information. It also saves me doing 3 more videos. Which, not that I'm against doing that, but it's a time thing, you know. Let's take a few minutes and just talk about this stuff. Anyhow, I will talk about scopes in another video. We'll get into talking about different quality ranges of scopes. Some of the stuff that I found that's good, some of the stuff I found is actually pathetically poor, and shouldn't even be allowed to be given away, let alone sold. Anyways, until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, got lots out of it. Post your comments below, and your questions, if you have any, they go down below in the comments section. I'll do the best I can to answer them. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed, please do so, and smash that bell for notifications for whenever I upload new videos. And hey, the summer's just getting into things, so we're going to have a lot more gun stuff for you as well. See ya.